I didn't know that Jim Cornette was JR until like I watched like 3 episodes of it. I was like, oh, that's why he sounds so familiar. Because I never called him Jim Cornette, so I didn't know.
Wait, what?
I didn't know Jim Cornette was JR. I was just like, who is this guy that knows so much? Who is this guy?
It's not this guy.
It's not? Oh my god, that's dumb as fuck. Okay. But, what else was I gonna say about it? He seems like a really smart kid.
First.
Make sure everything's cool. Okay, let me just fix my camera. Oh, yeah.
You look like your dad there.
I look like a UPS worker right now. You like my UPS drip?
Yeah, you look like the Mexican Doug Heffernan.
Doug Heffernan? I'll take that, because he's actually a really lovely-looking guy.
Can I be Deacon?
Yeah, sure. That would be cool, actually. Alright, let me just...
That'd be really sweet.
Let me just shake out all, like, the... Can you even see me? Yeah, you can see me. I look better on camera, but you can see me, which is fine.
I can see you, but from my camera angle, it looks like you're pretty dimmed out.
Yeah, I know. You're gonna have to deal with it.
That's fine.
Alright. Let me just shake out the willies. It's been a minute since I've been on camera, you know? Just, whew. Okay. Alright, we'll start a little conversation, and then we'll roll into a nice little intro. But, so you've been keeping up with his Vince McMahon stuff, I'm sure. Probably more than I have.
Yeah, I would say so.
Did you watch JR's podcast audit?
I didn't watch the conversation that he had on it, but I do watch it. I do watch his podcast every so often.
Yeah, I actually really like his. I didn't know that Jim Cornette was JR until like I watched like 3 episodes of it. I was like, oh, that's why he sounds so familiar. Because I never called him Jim Cornette, so I didn't know.
Wait, what?
I didn't know Jim Cornette was JR. I was just like, who is this guy that knows so much? Who is this guy?
It's not this guy.
It's not? Oh my god, that's dumb as fuck. Okay. But, what else was I gonna say about it? About Jim Cornette? Jim Cornette. I listened to Jim Cornette's podcast on it, and I didn't want to get all my info from it, and I know that you would have more info on it than I would. Vince McMahon, Jim Cornette, and I forgot...
Labanacher.
The King, Jericho the Cat.
SmackDown versus Raw.
I was thinking about that a lot recently. And, I don't know if I know you watched Drip Club back in the day, and if any of you guys watched Drip Club back in the day, like, a running theme of it is a lot of the times when we look back on, like, our childhood heroes or, like, people that were, like, huge in our life, because Vince was in my home every Monday, right? And then sometimes on Friday, if you got lucky. And Monday, Friday. And then growing up and see these people turn out to be, like, super villains, it's like, I wouldn't say it ruins it for me, but it just makes everything in, like, a different light. How do you feel about that?
It's really crazy because, you know, obviously 20, 15 years ago, not that nobody would care about that, but we wouldn't even understand or comprehend it, you know?
Because we were so little.
So little, and all we care about is the entertainment.
Exactly.
So we never think about what goes on behind the scenes, and now here we are getting all this breaking news, and it's just really nuts.
It is. And it feels a little bit gross, but when I still watch those old clips, it doesn't take anything away from it for me. But now I just have that thought in the back of my mind, you know, like this is only the stuff we know about. Imagine the stuff we don't know about. And we're talking, of course, about Vince McMahon. It's a very special episode, and I'm renaming the show, actually. I was going to tell you right now. It's not Sometime Tonight anymore. Now it's the UPS show, because I'm dressed like a UPS man.
Shout out to Doug.
I would shout out to Doug. I'm going to get Doug on the next one. And I just thought about changing it to my Twitter handle, because most people know me by Chris100. You got to follow me on Twitter at Chris. That's not even my Twitter. It's Caloza98. Follow me on there, and then you'll get updates on this show. Changing it, it's a whole new name. It's going to be really cool. I think. And we're talking, of course, about Vince McMahon. And one of the last episodes I did on the channel, I don't know if you've seen it, but I was talking about Dana White and Dana White's controversies. And now it's
No,
what was that?
I didn't see it. No.
Well, I was just talking about Dana White and how he slapped his wife, and he made a big scene, and he didn't really own up to it and everything. And since then, what was it called? UFC and WWE are the same company now, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know how they're going to handle getting a new manager or anything. But, man, when we were growing up, Vince was the man, wasn't he?
He was the man, not only because of what he was doing as far as entertainment was, but everybody was just like, damn, this old man is so jacked, and he's the boss. And it was just always so impressive,
And he was a great character, too. Like, he really knew how to play the heel and the storylines that he came up with.
The best villain ever.
He was such a good boss villain. He's probably the best boss villain of all time, if you think about it.
By far, and it's hands down.
Hands down, right? So I'm going to pull up a little bit more of the specifics on what's going on with Vince McMahon in a second. But I want to ask you just off the rip, like, how does all the info coming out about Vince McMahon make you feel? I'm talking about the poop stuff. I'm talking about the bribe stuff. I'm talking about the pimping stuff, allegedly.
To be honest, it's very disturbing. But I can't say I'm completely surprised. I can't say that. Because as far as wrestling goes, like, when you're a certain character, you get the most reaction out of who you really are, but you just turn it up a notch. So when he was doing certain things on camera and for story certain angles, that was probably just who he was, just on a turned up level. Just like The Rock on the turned up level, just like Stone Cold on the turned up level.
Yeah.
That's just how he, on a week to week basis. So it's really disturbing and it's really awful. But I can't say I'm completely surprised, and it doesn't take away from everything that he built either. It's something that can't ever that can't happen again. The only thing is to prevent it.
I'm sure they're going to be a lot better at preventing it now. At least I hope so, right? Because now it's so public and it's so weird. It's so fucked up. And I think you were right. Like, it shouldn't be like a huge surprise. Like, given everything, considering like what we found out in the last 10 years, like, we shouldn't be like shocked or surprised, but it still is, because you didn't know, like, he's like a 70-something-year-old man, y'all. He's an old man.
Oh, say 80.
He's 80?
He's almost 80. He's like 77.
He's almost 80, and I heard Jim Cornette say something real interesting about it. He mentioned like the testosterone that these old men take. You know what I'm talking about? And usually by the time you're 80, and I'm no expert on this, right? I'm a young man. We're young dudes. But yeah, we're young bucks. We're just young money, right? So like I want you to think about like how you felt as like a teenage boy, and then I want you to implant like the worst, most disgusting version of that in like an 80-year-old man who's been using steroids and has billions of dollars and is worldwide famous and beloved. Let's not forget beloved. And I want you to like, that's why we shouldn't be shocked, right? But like, we didn't think about that. We didn't think about these things at all.
Yeah. I mean, it's when you're at a certain level, things get overlooked, especially
Absolutely.
if you got the hush money to put up, and we see how far that can get somebody. But at the end of the day,
slap, 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 clap, 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 slap, slap, slap.
It seems like some of it is still like alleged, but we kind of know that most of these things did take place, really it's really crazy, and I still don't even know all the details. There's a bunch of things that I still didn't even like read yet.
We're gonna go over in a second a little more of the details, and I'll even read you some of those nasty texts because I want to see your reaction to them.
Yeah, I did see some of them, but I couldn't read all of them because I was just like, I was driving. I felt like something crashed.
Yeah. Well, I want to see your. I haven't read any of the text messages, but I heard they were really vile and stinky and nasty. So I want to see how you feel about it. And it's not funny. It's not funny, but we have to. It's almost a little bit kind of funny, right? Not because of this, but do you remember like a few years ago when there was like a lot of stuff coming out about Vince, like a lot of bribes that had come out, like he's bribing so and so, and he got in trouble, I think, for a sexual assault or something like really major.
What was this, around like COVID time? Was that when this was taking place?
It was a few years ago, and I haven't really brushed up on it because I don't follow Vince. I don't follow Vince McMahon, you know? But there's just some stuff that comes up in the news, and he's so huge that if you have, like, any interest in wrestling, past or present, it's going to come, you know, past your door or whatnot. And I wish you could hear some of these soundbars. I wish you could hear some of these sound bites, because this one's a jail cell slamming. And Vince, you are fired!
And,
you like that?
I love that. To kind of piggyback on what you said, like what you said, like if you're interested in wrestling or however you phrased it, and you kind of know what's going on with Vince, I think it's too big now where even if you're interested in any kind of business to see what a businessman is promote his company, I think you know what Vince is kind of doing in the moment, you know?
Absolutely. I think that's a really good way of putting it. So let me just Google real quick. Vince McMahon being a dirty old bastard. Vince McMahon. I'm speaking to Michael, by the way, today, folks. Michael. Powerful Michael. Vince McMahon scandal. Oh my gosh, did you see the news? They're getting rid of Brock Lesnar?
Yes.
Whoa! I didn't see that.
Now he's involved with the whole thing too.
Oh, do you know why?
Yeah.
Oh my god, let's talk about that real quick. Because I thought, when I heard this detail on the Jim Cornette / JR podcast, even though he's not JR, I was so embarrassed because I thought that he was JR, but he's not even JR. Oh.
And now he's the same person.
Now he's the same person to me. He's the same person to me, Karen. Goodbye, God, he sent those text messages. Look at those texts, JR. Fucking... Okay, so I was listening to Jim Cornette, and I've only just started listening to him. Skeena hat, by the way.
No.
Sheesh. I've only just started listening to this guy, you know, and he was saying, like, according to this guy, which was according to some other guy, and, you know, I'm doing shit while I listen to these, so I know you'll know. You can fill in the blanks for me, but, they mentioned, like, a UFC fighter in, like, the documents, and there's only, like, one UFC fighter that is that close with Vince, you know, Brock. Big Brock Lesnar. And they were saying that Vince would, like, have Brock sleep with the chick, right? This young girl that he had saved from going bankrupt because her family had passed away. Do I have it correct?
I don't know about that detail 100%, so I can't say yes or no, but it sounds good. If I'm gonna say yeah, it sounds about right. But the only thing I do know is about how Vince had this woman make some kind of sexual content to send to Brock Lesnar. I knew that part.
Whoa, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think that's kind of how it stemmed from. And I think that's part of one of the screenshots of the messages too. I could be wrong on that though.
Let's just touch real quick on Brock, because that's a huge story. And right now I'm on Marca.com. What'd you say?
I don't mean to cut you off.
No, there's a delay.
I don't know if you saw it, but yesterday they did having some of Brock's merch on WWE shop or network, however you say it. They had it on like some kind of discount so they can get rid of it. Push it all out.
Way.
Yeah.
And they did that. They did that before they announced they cut him.
Well, okay. So you know how the Royal Rumble was last Saturday?
Yes.
All right. So he ended up. He was supposed to be part of the Royal Rumble. He got scrapped last second to be in that Royal Rumble because of these allegations, and all of a sudden he was a part of it. And then more news started coming out about it. So that happened, and it all kind of just snowballed from there.
Okay, so
trying to sell the merch, trying to get rid of it. He's not going to be at any other storylines. He was supposed to be at this year's WrestleMania. Now that's not going to happen, and they might erase him from history. We don't know yet.
No, they're going to Benoit him?
They could. I mean...
They would have to Benoit Vince McMahon, too.
How do you do that, though?
I don't know how you could. There's, like, literally thousands and thousands of hours of Vince McMahon on WWE Network, you know? Like, how do you get rid of somebody like that?
And not only that, but... It's all the... Because when he brought it from $1 million to close to billions at the time, is like he was the main reason for that, because he was letting Stone Cold beat his ass and stuff like that. You know, like he's just in the ring taking all these crazy bumps.
Dude, Vince is as important to WWE, like on TV, as any other star. As Stone Cold, as The Rock, anybody you name it. Like Vince is right up there. Like he has to be. You know, he just appeared so much and he did such a good job. But I'm looking at this article real quick about Brock, and we kind of brushed over the McMahon stuff, so I want to touch on that. But I'm reading right here, Brock Lesnar's merch has been removed from WWE's Euro shop, but probably the US shop too. Oh, no. His merchandise currently remains on the US store, but most items are discounted. So they're like, we'll get rid of it in Europe, but we can still sell it in the US. We gotta get this Brock money while we can. It don't look good for Brock.
It does not at all. And it's like every day or every other day, something else comes to our attention about this news and everything. So who knows what can happen tomorrow? You know, by the time we wake up tomorrow, there's probably gonna be more news.
Yeah, I know. There's like I just learned some shit right now, like in the last 5 minutes about what's going on. But let's bring up a quick Vince timeline so we can cross our T's and dot our T's. Vince McMahon scandal timeline. Because for the people who don't keep up with this stuff, all they probably heard was that Vince McMahon is in trouble. He did a big no-no. Timeline of sexual misconduct allegations. What are you saying?
That's kind of how it started. You know? It was just like, oh, he did something that he wasn't supposed to do. And then little by little, because this has been going for what, a couple of years, right? 2 years?
This one I'm looking at, there's the jail cell.
I believe this.
2019 to 2023?
Damn, 2019?
Wait, this one's from 2022 to present, but I'm sure there was a lot more that happened before that. Okay, so I'm gonna breeze through a lot of these. Okay, this one's really interesting. So this is in 2022. I don't know if you remember, but Stephanie McMahon announced that she's taken a leave of absence from her role in the WWE, and she said she was leaving to take more time with her family. And this was after Janelle Grant made public that she received a $3 million NDA, which is a non-disclosure agreement. You know, it's a hush-hush from Vince McMahon after an allegation of misconduct by her towards McMahon. And the head of talent relations, John Laurinaitis. And I've been hearing a lot about this John Laurinaitis guy for a while. So remember, in 2022, Stephanie left. And then let's skip forward to 2022 of June. So Vince McMahon made another $3 million NDA with former WWE paralegal. Oh, that's Janelle Grant, who had a sexual relationship with McMahon and WWE's head of relations John Laurinaitis. ... The board found that McMahon made additional NDAs with other former WWE employees involving misconduct claims against the both of them. And then also in June, a lot of this happened in June, WWE announced, this is in 2022, Vince McMahon is stepping back as CEO and chairman on an interim basis while, they're doing an investigation for the Janelle Grant stuff. And I think that's what we were hearing about a couple years ago, was that. And then, Stephanie came back and she led the company. She became the interim CEO and champion. Vince McMahon opened SmackDown, yada, yada, yada. Vince McMahon did a couple appearances after that. And, this is another good one. So on July 8th, 2022, so this is all happening months, ahead of each other. This is, back to back, just shitting on Vince, and, exposing Vince for being a degenerate. A second article from the Wall Street Journal reports Vince McMahon paid $12 million for non-disclosure agreements across 16 years to 4 women who worked for the WWE. Vince agreed to pay $3 million to former Janelle Grant, and McMahon agreed to pay $7.5 million to a former wrestler in 2018. Oh my goodness.
Wait, does it say who, or?
It might get to it later in the timeline, but right now it doesn't. All it says was, and I believe this. It says that she alleged she was made to give McMahon head, and when she said no, she was demoted, and her contract wasn't renewed in 2005, and the NDA was made in 2018. There was 3 more. I'm going to try to breeze through these. A contractor came to work with the company with unsolicited nude photos of McMahon that he sent her, and allegedly he sexually harassed her at work. He agreed to pay $1 million to her. In 2006, McMahon agreed. So this is the stuff that we remember, this is the stuff that we kind of remember. If we go back, we heard, murmurings, but like you said, we were kids, and we were, busy watching Monday Night Raw. We didn't even know what that meant, 2006.
Yeah.
We were, in 6th grade.
We wanted to see people go through tables and stuff.
Yeah, we wanted to see Devon and Bubba.
Yeah, where's Devon fucking power bombing Mae Young and shit at 105 years old?
Type shit. Actually, we weren't even in 6th grade. We were in 4th or 5th grade. All right, because now we're old men. So
even more back then.
Yeah, even more so back then. And then McMahon agreed to another $1 million with a former manager for 10 years before McMahon allegedly started a relationship with her. And this is all while he's married, right?
Yeah, and I just need to kind of say this because I know this timeline about the case and everything.
Yeah.
But I was watching the old Howard Stern interview, and it was I think it was both of them, him and his wife Linda, and they kind of covered the infidelity and stuff like that. So this has kind of always been.
They talked to his wife.
Huh?
They talked to his wife.
Who?
Linda.
Who talked to Linda?
Stern talked to McMahon's wife. Did I hear that right?
Yeah, Howard Stern. Yeah. Hold on. I think the Howard Stern one was with Vince McMahon, but there's an old thing. It's called OTR. I don't know if you remember this. It was called OTR. It was short for Off
On the Rocks.
I wish that's where we should be right now.
Yeah, you're right.
No, but it was called Off the Rocks.
I love On the Rocks. Why didn't you say so? Mike, I can't. I'm doing a show right now.
Yeah, we're busy. Yeah, but it was called Off the Record, and they kind of went. It's like obviously now we got social media. This is before social media, so they pull back the curtain and they try to tell you everything that they're going through in their lives, or however they try to be the performance and stuff like that. So they kind of covered it. So this is not. That's why another thing, it wasn't crazy shocking to me. There was always something going on in the McMahon household, but it was just none of our business.
It was none of our business.
Now it is because.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I get excited.
You're good.
What were you saying?
I was just saying it like it was none of our business, but now it is because it's affecting other people, especially women who are just trying to work, you know.
And I've always been a big fan of especially the WWE girls, because they had to work twice as hard. They really did.
Yeah, especially for however many years, it was just all like a bikini contest and stuff like that. There's some talented wrestlers out there. I think the best wrestler in WWE right now is a woman. So,
who do you think is it? Who do you think's the best? Laredo?
female wrestler.
Yeah, I like Vicky. I think her name is Vicky or Nikki.
I'm gonna say Rhea Ripley. She's the best on the mic and she's the best in the ring right now.
Rhea Ripley smacks your girlfriend at the bar. What do you do?
I smack my girlfriend at the bar.
Rhea, I'm sorry. Don't hurt me.
Sorry. She deserved it.
No, she's scary.
Rhea is jacked. Super jacked.
She's super swole. So I have a lot of respect for the girl wrestlers. Let's get back to this timeline real quick because we have to catch up to present day. We're still in 2022. We haven't even gotten to 2023 or 4. The Wall Street Journal confirms that their analysis, the additional $5 million in unrecorded expenses reported on August 9th were to the Trump Foundation in exchange for Donald Trump's appearances in WrestleMania in 2007 and 2 appearances in 2009. Yada yada yada. That's not what I wanted. They fired the one guy, John Laurinaitis, who I had never heard of before this.
You know, he was at the talent relations after Jim Ross got fired.
He's the reason why?
No. He was the head of talent relations after Jim fired Jim Ross, who was responsible for bringing people in like throughout the Attitude Era and stuff like that.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
John Laurinaitis used to be a solid wrestler back in the day.
Yeah, well, now he's going to be wrestling a lot in jail. Where's my soundboard? Play that soundboard, kid. He's gonna
be wrestling in the back of TR.
He's gonna be doing a lot of Royal Rumbles.
He's gonna be doing a lot of karaoke.
He's gonna be doing a lot of Hell in a Cell in his butthole, right? So, this is in November of 2022. Rita Chatterton sends McMahon's lawyer a letter demanding $11.75 million for damages for raping her in 1986. Chatterton went public in 1992, so this was even before our time, when Vince was being scandalous, and that's putting it mildly, just being a public menace.
Very, like what you said earlier, an old man had like the testosterone of a teenager.
Yeah, that's never a good idea. Cause like they're worse at handling it than the young kids, you know. Especially when you're married.
And by the way, I don't know if she still is, but his wife was part owner of the company too.
Yeah, it's a real shame. I feel bad for her, even though she probably knew. I still feel bad for her because what do you do as Vince McMahon's wife? You know, you probably love the business and you love the fans. And you probably still love Vince, even though he's a rapist.
And that, but at the same time, they got married way before he was a millionaire. Way before.
That's his day one shawty.
Day one, but he treated her like the days that matter.
He treated her like the day 5,000.
Shit.
Shawty, you little baddie. Shawty, my little boo thing. And Shawty got the fatty.
I was just like him.
Thank you. All right, let's skip ahead. Mood swings. Oh, you didn't know I could sing? Let's skip to 2020 something. Did you hear that Raw is gonna be on Netflix now? We gotta talk about that too.
Next year, 2025.
I don't think it's gonna go as well for them as they think, but I'm not an expert.
Really?
Yeah. Just because like they've always done so good on cable, no matter what network they're on, and a lot of people watch Netflix, right? But Maybe I'm wrong. What do you think?
I think the opposite of what you just said, as far as like it not working as well as they expect. I thought that originally. Then I thought about it for like another 5 minutes. I'm like, who are we kidding? Like the day and age is all about streaming, you know? And I know a bunch of people, I'm one of them, who got Peacock just because they could have WWE content, you know?
I think that's a really good point.
So WWE is not going to be a Peacock anymore, and not going to have the WWE network separate anymore. It's all going to be on Netflix. I think it's a great move.
And it's going to be live too?
I don't know. I believe so. I would think so, but I don't know.
I don't know. It's just some things like I'm sure it will do just fine. I'm sure it will do the same. At least it'll do the same. But it was something, and maybe I'm getting old because you know what I was just thinking. I was just thinking that it was so cool as a kid. Because now I don't watch anything on cable TV. I don't even barely watch anything on streaming. I don't watch anything. I hate it. But as a kid, it was like, oh, it's, what time did it come on? 8 o'clock?
I think, well, yeah, probably 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock? Oh, it's Monday. It's 8 o'clock. It's Raw time, baby. It's time to go Raw. You know, like, that was exciting. To catch a live show on cable TV. It's like one of the few things you could watch on cable TV and be excited about. So I mean, I think you're probably more right than I am that it'll do better on Netflix. But
you're right. You remember like those Friday nights, it kind of crazy, but nothing was better than those Thursday night impacts. TNA.
Oh, we're gonna have to talk about that on another episode. But say what you wanted to say about it.
And me and you could dress up as LA. Right?
That would be so sick. I love TNA. I haven't watched any of it when they came back because it's just not the same, and I'm not the same. We'll have time at the end. It's just that my laptop's dying, and I want to get through this Vince shit. Because now we're getting to the present day Vince shit. The shit that we're all here to talk about. So on January 25th, 2024, Janelle Grant files a lawsuit. She accuses Vince McMahon of sex trafficking. And she doesn't want to do her NDA, and she announced that she had an NDA with Vince, and because he stopped paying her. He's like, at first he paid her to keep hush about it, and then he stopped paying her.
Oh, really? I didn't know that part. I
didn't know that part either. You know, if you're gonna do terrible things and ask somebody to keep quiet, you gotta keep the money going at least. You know, I mean, I'm not an expert on these things, but you would think. And
especially when they got it.
What was that?
Especially when everybody knows that you got it.
Especially when everybody knows that you got it. You're mega rich and you had... I'm sure they had already sold the company by then. So let's scrap the timeline because now we can talk about what we both know a little bit. So he met this girl through her landlord because her parents had passed away and she was struggling, you know, financially and whatnot. And then... he's like, I'll give you a job at WWE, you 21-year-old nothing. Like, you know nothing of the business, and you're just a dumb kid, but I'm gonna be a nice, great, good guy, and I'm gonna give you a job working at the largest sports entertainment company in the whole world. And he would just keep her at the office, allegedly, he would keep her at the office locked up all day, you know, and just have her around for doing, like, sexual favors and whatnot. And the reason why it's a sex trafficking case is because, you know, WWE goes state to state to state, you know?
Yeah.
They go truck to the truck to the truck. Truck to the island type shit, right? So...
Yeah, well, I mean, and, like, they go to different countries all the time, too, right? So...
They do.
Is she a part of that too? I assume so.
I would guess yes, but I don't know. But that would make it an international sex trafficking felony. That's huge.
Let's stay where we're at then, because that's super crazy.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's not that much crazier. It's in like the realm, because you know they do go to wherever. But I just want to stick to what we think we know. Allegedly, this is all alleged because Vince watches the show. He told me. Before all this came out, he's like, hey, you have a great show. I'm going to watch the next one. I said, okay, Vince. Thank you, Vincent.
I don't know if you guys remember, but 2007 to 2008, when they were revealing Vince McMahon's illegitimate son, it was guy right here. So
It was this girl's son?
no, you goof.
Oh, right. Well, I mean, back in the day, dude, Vince was the man. Like, we all looked up to Vince. We all thought he was this badass boss, businessman. He was kind of like the second Trump. Like, when we were younger, like, Trump was a completely different thing than what he is now, right? But everybody was like, oh,
Yeah.
Trump's the man. He gets money. He gets bitches. He gets cars and planes. And Vince was, like, right up there. They were, like, neck and neck, pretty much. And
Little did we know.
little did we know. And we never know this stuff until we're much older, right? I look like a UPS man. And we never know this stuff until much older. But he was... And then eventually with this girl, and I still don't know her name, but I just saw her photo, which made it a lot sadder. But he would start, like, pimping her out, allegedly, to his friends. Like, hey, my guy wants you on these days. Make sure you're available. Like, it wasn't even just, like, a him and her thing. Like, he started, like, showing her nudes to everybody in the office and sending them out, allegedly. And we're going to read a little bit of his text messages in a second because I want to see how despicable they are. But, you know, like, it goes so deep, and this is only what we know so far. There hasn't even been a trial yet. And I don't know if there will be. But, you know.
I think I saw something that got pushed back. Don't quote me on that, but I think I saw something that got pushed back.
Yeah, I'm going to have to do... Because this is all new shit. This all happened this week, didn't it? Well, him leaving.
The most recent. And you know how it goes. Like, if you have something, you're losing the case, and you're lawyering up, you're gonna try to get the lawyers to push it back, so then you get as much stuff on your side. You know, so I think that might be where Vince is at right now, just trying to pull anything to get him not out of the situation, but maybe, you know, not as bad. I don't know.
And a lot of the time they push out the date farther and farther is because they can afford to, and they know that this chick can't afford to, like Vince. Billionaire Vince, he can afford to push this as far as he wants, and he's old as fuck. Like he could pass away any day. You know, any day he could croak.
But fun fact about that, I believe his mom lived until she was like 105 or 108 or something crazy.
Oh, so he might be around for a while.
Vince has that in his blood. To keep that in, his parents played tennis together, like 100 and 101.
So, you know, he's probably gonna live in like another 10 years, maybe, you know.
Not a regular guy that we're talking about. Go have heart attacks at 5, 60. No, when he was 60, he was getting old. So
he's not a regular guy, right? He's like a superhuman. But keep in mind, he's been taking roids since like the 80s.
Yeah, he still squats like 550 pounds. It's incredible.
Yeah, he's definitely something else. I want to see if we can read some of these text messages without getting in trouble. And by in trouble, I mean with God, you know.
Yeah, we're both very religious men.
Yes, of course. I don't want to get on the Lord's bad side by reading these, or YouTubes. Or the YouTubes. Okay, let's see what we got. One. I got a couple, okay, here's alleged text between Janelle Grant and Vince McMahon. I might have to censor some of these, but I want you to listen and pay attention, okay? Maybe I don't want to say these things out loud, but I'm going to see what I can get out. These are really long. These are really long texts. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and I before we get to it, I just want to mention that supposedly, allegedly, hypothetically, theoretically speaking, in these texts, like, he wanted to poop on her head and stuff. Did you hear about that?
I did not know that part, no.
Yeah, so apparently he wanted to poop on her. I don't know.
Is that sounds like something like a sixth grader would say. Is that real?
That's either a 6th grader or an 80-year-old man taking testosterone, you know? Okay,
yeah,
let's read a text, shall we? Skeena hat.
Yeah.
Skeena hat, by the way. Looking excellent.
God, I just got to tell my cat to close his ears. I don't want to even hear this shit.
Don't let Jericho hear none of this. I'm glad you didn't call him Vince. That would have been tough.
What if I would have named him Vince, bro?
You would have had to change it. Okay, this is what Vince said to Janelle in 2020. Okay, so they had a threesome with somebody. And then,
is that what it says?
Yeah, and this is according to Twitter. which I believe every single thing I've ever read on Twitter, every single word on Twitter, you can believe it. It's true. Allegedly. I love it. That's you, Janelle. You just can't get enough, can you? I'm reading in Vince's voice. You can't get enough, can you? In the future, it's going to be so bad that you'll demand to be fricked twice a day and not just with blank in a three-way. Not with Brock. Why not let others see the beautiful voluptuous... Is this a good Vince, by the way?
This is really good and scary. Hang up.
Beautiful, voluptuous body and watch you shake uncontrollably when you explode. I'm changing some of these words around, but this is Vince's Riz. This is how Vince talks to his
It sounds like a terrible, terrible, disgusting promo. That's the worst thing about this.
Oh my god, he talks like it's a promo.
Is that's your game right there? You're gonna tell like it's a promo? Come on, man. That's great. Just go home to Linda. Go home.
Go home to Linda, exactly, right? Hasn't she had enough of you?
Linda's making you waffles and she's giving you giving you everything in this. Go home.
She's giving you really cool kids. I think Shane and Stephanie are cool. They were always cool. Okay. They'll go out of their minds. Then I'll find more friends. Oh my god. Then I'll find more friends and we'll tie you up so you're helpless. I'll direct them to have their way any way they want. At SummerSlam. I added that last part. At WrestleMania. Who can make you scream the loudest? Maybe I'll just line them up and move them. Oh my god. Maybe I'll just line them up. This is all real. And he uses a lot of emojis. Oh no, he doesn't use emojis. This is something else. I'll just line them up and have them. I don't even want to say it. I'm gonna have them blank in your mouth. Your cookie all over your sponge and peach. All at the same time. You'll be covered in water. And we'll make you eat it all and taste everybody's water.
What?
I'm switching out some words. You're gonna have to use your imagination here, okay?
Yeah, as unfortunately, I really don't want to, but I understand what's going on. I still can't believe this.
Okay, I'm glad we're on the same page. The next morning you'll be a little sore, but you're still going to want more after all that. Freaking over and over. Okay, hold on, let's get to another one. After the threesome began, McMahon became more sadistic and his fantasies focused on control, such as choking, sensory deprivation, pain, humiliation, and group scenarios in which Miss Grant was to be physically overwhelmed and subservient. So basically like a captive. Like, she's just gonna do whatever they say and want. Your last picture, you need your panties ripped off and 3 big black dogs in all 3 holes at the same time. Way up your cookie and way up your peach as far as they will go, but even farther. And the thickest dog goes down your throat so it makes you gag and convulse as those big black dogs pound away. This is like smut. It's cold in the garage, but I'm blushing because it doesn't feel right to read this to you, Mike. It feels criminal. It makes you gag and convulse as those big black dogs pound away. It feels like from the start you're being assaulted, but it made you explode nonstop, just one continuous constant orgasm. And just before you pass out, those big black... He has an obsession with black dudes, you know?
Yeah, well, you remember that time he wanted to be black. He used to come on a do-rag. He said something he shouldn't have said.
And he loved R-Truth.
He still does. Still talks to him every day.
Dude, this makes me look at R-Truth a whole different way, because I always heard that R-Truth was Vince's favorite, and he would give him so much stage time, you know? And I'm not saying R-Truth did anything. I love R-Truth. But,
out there, man. Come on, R-Truth is a fucking saint.
I love R-Truth. I think he's probably a really nice guy. I don't think he has anything to do with it. But I think in the back of Vince's mind, you know, R-Truth was... I mean, yeah, in the back of Vince's mind, R-Truth was looking like whatever this he's describing. You pass out... Yeah?
Real quick. Like, as you're reading this, and this is getting absolutely disgusting, I'm just thinking of that time when Vince McMahon set up a tag team match, and he had his tag team partner as God. Do you remember this?
No.
He was like, here comes my tag team partner coming to the ring. He goes, yes, okay. And you just see the spotlight just on this little trail from a ramp to the ring, and it's supposed to be God. You don't remember this?
I don't remember it. We're gonna have to watch that later or something, because that sounds wild. But that just lets you know, like, in Vince's mind, he has so much power, and he loved having his power. And, you know, I've heard so many stories, like, about people who, like, encounter Vince, and, like, they have to act a certain way, and everybody does it, and everybody just follows what he says, because he has so much power, right? Power. I'm going to finish this last one, and then I'm not going to read anymore, because it's just gross. You pass out, those big black dogs explode their loads of water inside you. As I lay on your stomach, the water is coming out of all your holes. I'll turn you over, and oh my gosh, I'll turn you over and explode all over you. This is like, and this picture of Vince is really funny. But,
Sounds like Vince always wanted to be in the adult film industry. That's what.
Yeah, doesn't it? It sounds like he, like, obviously he cared about wrestling. You know what I used to think? Before all this happened, and before you just said that, I was like, you know what? Vince is just, he's obsessed with wrestling. He loves the business. Like, that's his first love, is wrestling. And I don't know if this changed before or after he went on testosterone as an old man, and all those feelings came back with, like, a force. But, like, what did he really care about in the end is what I want to know. Like, did he care about the cookie? Did he care about the money? Did he care about the wrestlers? Did he care about all three? I don't. What do you think?
Like, what did he care about?
Yeah.
Honestly, I would say it has to be the money first, but the money and the business go hand in hand. So think about when he was going up against WCW, and even after that, when he's having big wrestlers walk away. Remember that time when Kurt Angle walked away from WWE and he just showed up on TNA one day?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Sorry, your audio's cutting out.
Yeah, I was like, yeah. I said, yeah, it was awesome.
Yes, it was awesome. But think of how big Kurt Angle was at that time. The biggest wrestler. But it's not like Vince's type of person to just kind of roll over. He's the type of person that's like, okay, what's next? I need to make the most out of this superstar so I can get the most buck. He's getting paid more than the wrestlers. Obviously, it's his company. So I think that he's always cared about the money in the business.
Yeah, I think that's true. Vince seemed to always be good at knowing how to make more money.
And we don't know the guy, so maybe he did care about the cookie more than anything else.
Yeah, it's just really weird how he went about it. And, like, those were from 2020, those text messages, so let's say he was 75. That's old. That's old to be talking like that. I don't even talk like that.
That's why I'm just like, that just sounds like either somebody who's never got to be in that kind of business that they wanted to be in, or it just sounds like a young amateur teenager. That's what that sounds like to me. I don't know. I'm still, and I know there's more, and I don't even know how I would react to the rest of the text messages. So it's so crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot, and those are the only ones that we have seen. There's like probably thousands more that we haven't seen, And
I see the one real quick. I just want to say I did see the one where he was trying to get her to come to work to do one of these favors.
Yeah,
and he's kind of playing along like, I'll be there. I'll be back a week after I start feeling better, and then I start to feel more like myself or whatever. And then it's just like a short message, and you just see him bombarding her with more messages. It's really, really disturbing,
He was an old man. He was on testosterone. And people say that it's natural, but it's not natural to have that much testosterone in your body when you're 80 years old. If it was natural, then you wouldn't have to take it, you know? You get what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
So he was an old man. He was taking chemicals. He was incredibly wealthy. He had an incredible, like, clout. Like, who had more clout than Vince McMahon? Like, he had a lot of clout. Like,
Nobody,
influence.
because you're the man.
You're the man.
You get to say who goes over and loses the belts and all these things. Do you think that there's not females that are just waiting for these opportunities to get in some kind of business and they don't know what they have to?
Yeah, exactly. And is ever since he started like running the WWE, the WWF, like he's always been in charge of the stories, right?
Majority of them. I mean, he has like a team, but he's gonna say, "Oh, do it like this."
He says yes or no.
Yeah.
So like you have
yes or he adds different twists to everything. Yeah.
You have this guy for all the reasons that I just said, and he's been writing people's lives most of his life at this point. He's been writing people's lives, you know, and like I guess if I'm looking at it from like a psychology perspective, like. He enjoys doing it, and he enjoys having the power over people, right? And he liked the fact that, you know, this girl would do whatever he said, even if it wasn't with him, even if it was with people like Brock Lesnar, allegedly, which I believe. It's probably true. Like, people like Brock Lesnar and all of his buddies, however many he had, you know, it's not like hard to believe. It's not hard to connect those dots, right?
Really not.
That somebody in this position would do so much fucked up shit like that. And I want to remember, just in case I forgot to mention anything about this specific case, he would keep her at the office, you know, so he could have her while he was, you know, at work. And his wife was at the office too, wasn't she?
I don't know, because I think she's been kind of what do you call it? Some kind of politic background.
You know, his wife ran the HR department.
Huh?
His wife ran the HR department.
I don't know. Did she?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
And
that makes it even worse. And it was really bad before.
Yeah. It doesn't look good at all. It doesn't look good at all for Vince McMahon. And it doesn't look good for Brock.
Doesn't look good for anybody. I don't see how you get out of this. You know?
He already left the company.
And like you did this, everything, but this just puts a damper on your legacy and everything that you built.
And I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if they cut him out of everything. Like, I don't know how you could like go back through all those 20, 30 years, but like I'm sure they could find a way to do it. It's just it's like, okay, I'm trying to think of like who else was involved in this, because if you have somebody like Brock and you have somebody like Vince, I'm sure there was a lot of like dudes in the head office that were involved or knew something, but like was there any other wrestlers involved, do you think? Or any divas involved?
I'm sure that they will be revealed within the next like month or so. I would be willing to bet if there is, it's gonna come out before we know it.
Pretty soon, right?
Yeah, I mean it has to. I mean, like these messages have probably been public knowledge for how long? I mean, not public knowledge, but knowledge now, like known about for how long, and how they're coming to the internet so everybody can see them, and details backing up these things little by little. So, and we just learned about Brock Lesnar the other day.
I just learned about him today.
Yeah.
Dude.
There's more people.
I'm glad I was never that big of a fan of Brock to begin with. I feel like he just got like an easy layup into the business, you know?
Do you remember when he got ass beat by Cain Velasquez? Do you remember this?
No, I don't. Was that in the UFC?
Yeah.
No, I don't remember that. But Cain was a badass.
Cain was too just too like seasoned, and it was just like that was like the most impressive thing. I don't know why I just thought about that right now, but I just remember everybody was saying Brock Lesnar was going to kill him, and he got his ass beat.
Well, I'm glad, because I never really liked Brock anyways. I didn't hate him. He didn't have good promos, and he was just big and strong. That was his thing.
Yeah, 100%. I wasn't a crazy big fan. I was just amazed at his explosiveness as an athlete, you know, being able to explode the way that he does. That's like, he's the only one I've ever seen to do that.
Yeah, I agree with you. Okay, so Michael, if you were the judge in this case, the people versus Vince McMahon, guilty or not guilty?
Say guilty.
Hit the soundboard.
100% guilty, but you have to give him one last WrestleMania match.
You think they're gonna give him another one? Dude, they're not. They're not gonna give him anything.
You have to, but it has to be like a lumberjack match. When they throw him outside of the ring, he starts getting his ass beat.
They got to give him a pink slip match, I guess. No, they're not. I don't think so. I don't think they're gonna give him shit. They're not gonna. I think.
I was just kidding, 100%.
Yeah, I know you were joking, but I could never see them giving him a match.
I think that they should have one last Hell in a Cell and just have him and Undertaker start at the top of the cell and see how that ends.
Dude, Vince would actually die.
It's good TV. It's Netflix, right? I mean, come on.
It's Netflix. Come on. Who are you kidding, huh?
Come on. You act like you would have watched it. We saw Mick Foley almost die like 15 times.
Hey, I'd watch it. If they had one more match with Vince, which they would never do, I would still watch it just to see what kind of shit they can come up with. Like, I don't think there are.
Okay. Real quick, if this was never even happening, this whole case and all these coming out, terrible things. But just as like a booker, if you were a booker, who would you want Vince to have his retirement match against? I know the obvious answer is
Stone Cold. Stone Cold.
Yeah, it has to be Austin, but try to think outside the box. Something more far left that it would work.
Chris Benoit.
Crazy guy.
Back from the dead. You know, Vince versus somebody. If it wasn't Austin, Vince versus... The first thing I thought of was Mark Henry.
Like chocolate? You want him to get sit on?
Yeah, Mark Henry or Big Show. Or...
Like these big dudes, man. You just want to see this guy get killed.
Or the Hurricane, because I always liked the Hurricane.
That's a good one. That'd be so dope.
I always liked the Hurricane a lot. What about you? What do you think?
What? Oh, same thing I asked you. You know what? I was racking my brain trying to think about this. I was thinking about it for like 5 minutes, like super hard. But I came to one name and one name only. And I think it would work because if this guy did it, he would start off as the babyface, but he would end as the heel because of the way that he would.
Hornswoggle?
How would you know? The first person, the only person I thought about was Edge.
Oh, that would be a great one.
If he did it, he would start off as the babyface, but he would become the heel because he would just do something stupid, slimy to retire Vince McMahon. It'd be so good.
Ooh, Triple H would be a good one too.
Triple H is top 3 heel.
Time to play the game, Vince. Time to play the game.
Jericho would be a great one because they could like intertwine their real life kind of disagreements into the story. It'd be amazing.
So okay, I want to talk about TNA for like a quick 10, but real quick, where do you see this stuff with Vince going?
What do you mean? Like, where's?
How do you predict it ends?
He's gonna be in jail next to a big dude, and he's gonna be, you know, singing all night long, playing the harmonica or some shit.
Shit.
Whatever they do.
Shit. He's not gonna do well in jail.
Nah, he's gonna. What do they call that? An isolation or whatever.
The shoe.
Is that what they call it?
Yeah, the shoe. It's like when you're locked up all by yourself with no windows and shit.
I did not know it was called the shoe.
Yeah, I forgot what it stood for. But yeah. I
Okay.
mean, I I should probably look up. Let me just look up real quick if he's on trial. And I gotta fart real quick. Vince McMahon. And this stuff, I want to say again, it's not funny. It's not funny, but just the shock of it and seeing somebody that you look up to and you grew up watching every week. Every week this guy was in my house, you know? It's very shocking, and there's just it's hard to think about it without just like laughing a little bit. It's just how absurd it is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and especially when we go through things, I mean, it anytime you could make light of a situation, tries to make it a little bit better. So none of these things are funny. None of these things are supposed to.
I agree 100%. So he is under federal investigation surrounding sex trafficking allegations. So like it is a criminal thing. Like he is being investigated for being a criminal. And you know what happens to criminals? They either get away with it, or they go to jail, or they pay their way out of it somehow. And if anybody has the money to do it, it's Vince. But like, would they even lock up somebody as old as Vince? I don't know. So do you think they're gonna scrub him from WWE, or just try to ignore it, like play it off?
No, I can see them. I can see them scrubbing him at least for a while, because I don't know if you remember this, but years ago, like Hogan got in some kind of trouble for saying, I believe it was a racial slur.
Yeah.
And he was wiped away from the WWE history and the WWE.com and all that stuff.
I didn't know they went that far.
Yeah, they did it for a couple of years, and they brought him back after that. They thought that he, either learned his lesson or however they phrased it, but they ended up bringing him back. Now nobody talked about it,
Has anybody in the WWE ever went to jail?
Jail? Like jail or prison?
Either or.
Oh yeah, dude. Jimmy Superfly Snuka?
Oh, but that's so old. But yeah.
Okay, but he got arrested for the death of his wife.
Oh my god.
The homicide in his 80s when he was suffering from Parkinson's.
I didn't know that. Lock him up.
And he killed her in he killed her in 82 or some shit.
Lock him up. Well, that was WWF or whatever it was back in the day. Lock him up.
Yeah, but when he got arrested, he was already a legend, like way retired.
Lock him up.
There's a whole dark side of the ring on that, and it's crazy because Vince McMahon was a part of that too. He paid off the lawyers.
He's always been involved in some shady shit.
He paid off the lawyers, and he paid off the feds to stop investigating.
That Vincent McMahon. And do you remember what we were talking about a while ago? And I had told you I seen this interview about Vince McMahon talking about his ma.
Hornswoggle?
Yeah, his mom Hornswoggle. And he was talking like his mom used to like sexually, assault him and do weird stuff to him. So like he's like a broken person that has like endured sexual trauma and violence probably. And then, he becomes a millionaire, billionaire, and for everything we already talked about, and then he gets caught for something like this. It's just kind of like the cycle repeating itself, which is sad, because so many kids looked up to Vince, and Vince is like a very like special kind of person, right? Because WWE, like as long as I can remember, like growing up, and even to this day, like old people like WWE. Young people liked it. Women, men liked it. Black people, white people, Mexicans, Chinese. Need I say more? Like, they all liked it. So everybody looked up to this person because it was such like a... It's actually a really cool thing about wrestling is that no matter where you go, you'll find a fan. And they're always just so, like, different. You know what I mean? And then, like, this is our guy. This is our guy that gave us all this years and years and generations of entertainment. And this is our guy. This is his legacy now. His legacy ain't, creating the WWE and doing all this great stuff. Now this is what he's stuck with, is being a degenerate and a lot more worse things that that now we pay attention to because now we're adults, you know. But like, if you asked me 5 years ago, Vince McMahon, I would have said a baller. He's a baller. But now, if you ask me this now, I'm gonna be like, well, he's just a degenerate. He's just a creep. He's a sicko kind of guy. He's fucked. He's sick in the head. You know, and that's sad because a lot of kids, white, black, whatever, Mexican, whatever, Polish, whatever, Jewish, whatever, Arab, whatever, they all liked Vince, right? And now, you know, I'm sure some people are out there denying it, I guess, but I don't know how you could. I don't know how you could at this point deny any of this stuff. But I'm with you. I think he's guilty. Guilty, guilty, guilty. Throw him in jail. Where's my soundboard? Play it. There it is. So, let's wrap up on Vince, because we talked about that for about an hour. And let's just do a quick chat about TNA, because we loved TNA. Oh, man, TNA was awesome. And did you hear Vince's podcast on why TNA was so interesting?
Vince?
I mean, Kurt. I still got Vince on the mind. Vincent McMahon.
I don't know. I believe I did, but if you could refresh my memory on what he said, it'd be cool.
Because I was watching old clips of the TNA ring, and it was way smaller.
The 6-sided ring, or is this a 4-sided?
The 6-sided, which they're not bringing back, which is stupid. Because that was awesome. It was way cooler than the 4-sided ring. And you know why I like the 6-sided ring more than the 4?
Why?
Is because it was smaller, and you would like, and this is what Kurt said, and it's so true. And I believe everything Kurt says, and I hope Kurt has nothing to do with anything bad ever. But
and side note for everybody watching, me and him are like the biggest Kurt fans probably in the world.
I love Kurt. He's the funniest guy. He's R-Truth is right up there, but Kurt's still a little bit funnier. What? Kurt's the funniest.
It's like Perk, Santino Morella, and R-Truth. I
love Perky Angle. And he said that with the 6-sided ring, there was a lot more action because it was so much smaller. So it's not like you could be far away. Like, you were always, like, right there. You're always right there. And I was watching the first TNA with, I don't know who it was with. Maybe it was with AJ Styles. But the first one, was Kurt in the first TNA?
No.
Okay, then it must have been somebody else. But I was watching the first TNA, and dude, the crowd was so small. And then now we heard that in January of 2024 this year that they're bringing it back, and they're calling it TNA, like how it always should have been. But they're not bringing back the 6-sided ring, and I haven't watched any of it because I can't watch anything. If it's not 7 seconds long, I just can't watch it. But they're bringing back a lot of old people. Some new indie guys, which I think is really cool. I never liked AEW, and I stopped watching wrestling like in 2011. But it was always nice to see TNA come back. Have you watched any TNA?
I haven't, but I always think it's interesting when you say you stopped watching wrestling in 2011, because I'm like also a huge CM Punk fan. So as soon as CM Punk started getting to the top, you stopped watching in general. So I always think that's interesting.
I really like CM Punk, and maybe I stuck around because I definitely saw when he became champion. I remember that, but I do think CM Punk was a little bit overrated.
That's a conversation for another day. Also, that's a very interesting conversation, and I'm not mad at that because you got a point. But going back to TNA, sorry to get off topic.
No, it was perfect. Go back to TNA.
Talking about TNA, what was the last thing you said about it?
Have you watched any of the new TNA? Because we were like, oh yeah, TNA, but I haven't watched any of it.
I haven't watched any of it. You know who Dolph Ziggler is, though, right?
Yeah. He came back, didn't he?
Yeah, he's in TNA now because he got released from WWE. So that's the only thing I saw about it. I saw that he did a little promo in the ring. It was cool, and the crowd energy is getting to kind of where it used to be for TNA, and I always appreciate that. The smaller venues really does it justice,
Yeah.
The smaller, it's like going to a small little indie show, but a little bit turned up. You got names from different countries and different promotions and everything, and people crossing over and whatever. You got big names, you got smaller names, you got people who are trying to make a name, That's the part that I always appreciated about TNA, because when we were watching TNA growing up, we were watching people who were like, how long has this guy been wrestling? Because this guy is so good, so entertaining, and I never heard about him until this week.
Dude, they were so good. And my favorite lady wrestler ever, what's her name? Awesome Kong. Oh, we talk about Awesome Kong all the time. She's my favorite. She's my favorite lady wrestler.
You can't be your favorite if you forget her name. You better.
I remembered it. Awesome Kong. I'm sorry. I think you're awesome, and I want you to power slam me and just kill me. Just kill me.
Oh, you would love it.
I would love it.
All right, thanks. You're starting to sound like Vince.
Oh, I mean, don't. I want you to go out there and have a good, clean match, you know. But I haven't watched any of it either. They just didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, if Kurt came back, then I would watch it because I love Kurt, you know. But they just didn't bring back anybody that like I really care about anymore. Like, tell me like the biggest guy on TNA.
Right now?
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you. But the only thing I could tell you is that roster that they had back in the day was stacked.
Oh, yeah, it was awesome.
AJ.
Kurt, woo. Sting. Hulk.
Kevin Nash.
Ric Flair.
Christopher Daniels.
Jay Lethal.
Jay Lethal. Scott Steiner.
Woo. Oh my God, they had Papa Pump. I forgot.
Who are we forgetting? Samoa Joe.
Oh, Samoa Joe. That's somebody who should have made it to WWE. For sure.
LAX. Beer Money. Homicide. Banger after banger.
Bangers.
And I was fine watching Sting wrestle Kurt. I was fine watching Kurt wrestle AJ every other week.
It was awesome. I didn't even know the difference. I was just like, yes, more Kurt, more, and AJ. That's where AJ started. Like that's where we all know AJ from. A lot of people know him from WWE, but they weren't around for TNA. Man, that was it had so much heart. It had so much spirit.
They weren't around for it, and it showed because they don't even understand what this dude was able to accomplish. He was literally like the next generation Shawn Michaels as far as performance.
That's a really, really good way of putting it. AJ Styles really was. And
he's still going strong now.
My favorite black wrestler is Jay Lethal, dude. I love Jay Lethal.
As far as comedy, I would give it to... overall, I'll say Booker T. That's my favorite black wrestler.
That's a really good one. That's a really good one. I'm just talking about overall. Because Jay Lethal was just like... Because those guys at TNA... Because he's a TNA guy. He's always going to be a TNA guy to me. Those guys at TNA, like, they were going up against WWE... And they were holding up a whole small company on their own. And they were going out every fucking week. And Jay Lethal had the sickest fits. And he had a great Randy Savage impression. And he made it his own. And he was so... like, all the TNA guys, like... probably not all of them. I'm probably remembering it, like, fondly. But, like, you really couldn't afford to be a shit in TNA. Like, you had to be good.
You have to perform. And you have to represent your company.
And it was awesome, dude. I loved TNA. I liked TNA more than SmackDown. I liked it more than Raw at one point. TNA.
Oh, yeah. Raw got dull, but good. Some people just perform so much better under pressure, and I felt like all those TNA guys performed so well under that pressure every fucking week because they knew what they could do. And not only in each other, but when you're out there wrestling with somebody, you're confident in your partner. It's great TV.
It was great seeing all the oldies go to TNA because they were like, you know what? I had my time with the WWE, and they all went back to WWE later. But they stayed for a minute at TNA because I don't know. I guess they just loved wrestling because the pay I'm sure wasn't that good.
No, well, I mean, I heard some of them got the bag.
I'm sure they got paid well, but it wasn't as good as WWE money. Like there's just no way.
But at the same time, it's a reduced schedule too. Half of what you did in WWE. So
yeah, loved that TNA.
That's why Kurt said that he went there. He was like, they were paying me millions to wrestle, on top of, and then I was getting my merch deal, and I was wrestling like a third of what I was doing in WWE. Makes sense to me.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. All right, Mike, I'm gonna wrap this bitch up, and then I'm gonna edit it and whatnot. You want to say anything final to everybody watching us? Oh, my laptop's about to die too.
What's the name of the? What's the name of this?
The 100 show.
The 100 show, is that final?
Yeah, it's final. I'm gonna change the YouTube name and everything. It used to be called Sometime Tonight, and then I just got over that. And this is gonna be like the first video I've uploaded on the channel for like a whole year, because I only do them when I really want to do them. And it was awesome that I could get you, because you know way more about wrestling than I do. And then it was just an awesome way to start, kind of like a new channel. So
Yeah, this is gonna be
thank
dope,
you.
man. Yeah, this is just dope. So much to talk about. We got so many ideas that we written down. It's like right now we got to cover this because of what's happening.
Yeah.
But if we dive into the TNA, more classics and everything,
We should rewatch matches and commentate them. I was thinking about that.
Oh,
That would be fun.
that'd be interesting.
That'd be awesome. But thank you for coming on and talking to Vince with me. I couldn't think of anybody else to talk about it with. Because we're just lifelong, not WWE fans. We're just lifelong wrestling fans, lifelong Vince fans. So, like, who else could talk about this stuff other than people who watched them, like, back when it was the WWF type shit, you know? Like, I don't think there's anybody else qualified, except for the fake Jim Cornette. He's qualified. I like him.
His name is J.R. Cornette. Get it right.
Is it really?
No,
I still don't know. I thought it was the same dude. All right, Mike.
That's so.
I'm going to talk to you later, buddy.
All right, man. Let's do the next one. Let me know.
All right. Peace, kid.
Peace.
Peace. And there you have it, y'all. We had a whole hour talking about the Vince McMahon. Let me know how you guys feel about it down in the comments, because this is, like Mike said, it's not like a huge shocker, and it shouldn't really be that big of a surprise, but it is when you grow up with these people and they turn out to be villains. But thanks for tuning in. I know it's been a while since I posted, but I only post when I really wanna. So I know I had to do something for this one, because it was this is just crazy news. And we're going to try to keep up with it, because, you know, Vince just left the company this week, and we're just now becoming aware of these things, so we were a little bit ignorant, you could say. But now that this is, like, in our faces every day, even if you're not a wrestling fan, and I haven't been in, like, over a decade, but, you know, this is just stuff that comes up that we have to talk about, because it's important. But thanks for watching this episode, and I hope you all catch the next one.